This is Tom O'Neill, The Envelope, with Mickey Rourke, star of The Wrestler, giving a performance that, what did Todd McCarthy say in Variety, that it's already one of the single greatest performances of this century. That's how crazy critics are going over this show.
Well, it's
Did this wrestler strong arm him? Was he to say that?
No, we've been getting nothing but really good notices. I think ever since we went to Venice, and it's like, Darren's a really special director, and when I read the material, I thought it was kind of mediocre material, and but I thought because of the way Darren's brain works, and he's a very innovative, very sort of relentless in perfection and sort of breaking new ground. So I knew he would transcend the material. So he allowed me to work on it with him for a lot of the scenes with Evan that I had, and the speech at the end. He let me rewrite all of that. And I didn't know anything about wrestling. I learned to respect the sport and to understand that it's entertainment, and that's, even though it's pre-choreographed and what have you, at the end of the day, these guys, they got to stay fit. They've got to take the latest vitamins or what have you, or eat a certain way to keep going. And after every match, they're injured. I mean, because they're wrestling in front of 70, 80,000 people, they feed off the adrenaline of this crazy crowd, this sort of cult crowd that comes to wrestling. And let's say if a guy climbs up on the high post and does a double or back flip, maybe 40% of the time he's going to land where he doesn't get hurt. The other 60% of the time, he's going to get hurt. He's going to tear a ligament, or he's going to tear an ACL, or he's going to get some sort of spinal injury. And when they hit each other with the metal chairs, you're not always going to hit the guy with the flat part. There are the moments where you're going to get hit with that corner. And, these guys, literally, when they're finished with this pre-arranged entertainment, they're, a lot of the guys we met who are in their late 30s or late 40s, these guys can't even bend down to tie their shoes. So, at the end of the day, they take quite a beating for, their half hour of glory in the ring. And,
I think that's what's shocking to us as viewers of this movie when we see that. How much of it, of the staple gun stuff and the broken glass stuff, is real? That
was all real, because I didn't do any staples in myself, but the other guy, he was stapling dollar bills to his forehead.
Wow.
The only thing I did was cut myself on the mat with the razor blade and get the real blood going, which didn't hurt that much, because it was a little tiny kind of slash up here. Hold your breath and blood comes down. That's called gigging, and that's something Darren gave me information about. And to give credit to Darren, the night that we were doing that scene, all up into that scene, he said, "You're going to gig, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And I thought, I don't want to gig. And when he came over to me, he said, "We can put it on later." I said, No, I'm gigging, and that was,
wow.
That was that.
How much of this performance, people are saying this performance is a metaphor for your career in many ways, and that's what makes this interesting, and that is true. But you're somebody who's really coming back in the same way that this fighter is, or trying to in the movie. But how much of the performance is Mickey Rourke that we see on screen? That's what I found interesting, because you have this intensity as a star. Anyway, I don't know you personally, but you seem to, and that was one of the big character drives of this wrestler.
I think what it is there was, the parallel with me when I was out of work for 15 years. You're not, I went from having a career to having no career, where this guy is in the place where they put him on the bench because of his age. So I could identify with the state of living in shame and living in disgrace, because, when you were somebody and then you're nobody anymore, it's like, and they don't want you to come back. And it's like very few can come back after 15 years. Or, the only thing I was going on was hope and gas fumes. It was like it was several years ago. I came about that far from leaving the movie business and going back to Miami and doing God knows what. No, I certainly wasn't going to get a job. And I met an agent who wanted to meet me, and he made a lot of promises to me, and I made a lot of promises to him, and he kept all of his, and I kept most of mine, and I did the best I could with honoring what I said I would do. And he, slowly by slowly, over a several-year period, we get a small part here, a small part with Tony Scott, a small part in a Rodriguez movie, a day's work in a Sean Penn movie, a couple of weeks in Get Carter with Stallone, and then after we did Sin City, we started to get some offers again, but it took that several years of coming back slowly, which all the years put together was about 14 years out of work. I knew when I met Darren Aronofsky, I thought if anybody can bring me back, because of what I heard about him and the movies that I saw that he made, he reminded me of Coppola and Cimino. His integrity, his where he's just relentless pursuit of perfection and taking chances. He decided to shoot this movie in a very stylized way, handheld way, because we were on a shoestring budget. Also, he said to me, "Look, I don't know if I can even get $5.5 million from you." And I said, "I know." He said, "You ruined your career. You could have been this, you could have been that." And he said, "You up, and nobody wants to give you a chance, and I might, but you're going to have to listen to everything I say, do everything I tell you, and never disrespect me, and I can't pay you." And I thought, okay, let's rock and roll. And so then I got replaced because they found somebody else that they could get $16 million for, and they had a real budget. And then I think something happened after 10 days with these two, Darren and the other actor. I don't know what it was, and then I got the movie back, and it's not like I was jumping for joy to get it back, because I knew one of the reasons that Darren wanted me to do the part, and I knew he would want me to revisit some really painful, dark places and reveal that emotionally. And I also knew that he would want his pound of flesh. Looking at him and the way he spoke so directly to me, I thought, this one wants my blood.
And now that it's paid off in this spectacular way, there's Oscar buzz, we're here at the Four Seasons of Beverly Hills, the press is lining up to talk to you. What do you think now?
Well, because everybody says, "Oh, this is your comeback." Those are two words that I say to people. Look up comeback in the dictionary and see what it says. Because comeback it's a very easy word to say, but people come back from different things, and this comeback has taken many, many years and many minutes, hours, days, months of change. And change is something that came hard for me because I didn't want to change at first. Even though I'd lost everything I ever loved and I had everything I ever had, because I self-destructed, I just didn't want to change. I thought, I'm okay the way I am. I'm just going to be the thing I turned into. And all those strengths that the armor I put on, it became really a weakness. And where I used to be okay with people being afraid of me, or just not being accountable or responsible for my actions or repercussions, I now thought I got to change. And when I made up my mind, when I had lost everything, I got to change. And I thought I could really change in a year or two or three. And it's been 13 years, and I'm still a work in progress. I mean, man, I've changed so much from back then. It's like, if I knew it would take me 15 years to get back in the saddle and work again, I would have changed things. But I didn't have the tools, and I didn't know how. And then I met a man who works in those areas, and we were able to work on the issues that I had that made me get hard and cut off and self-destruct.